At 1,337 meters, history turns into quiet metal.
Rusticles act like a slow eraser, rewriting edges year by year. Every opening is a doorway carved by collapse. Entry requires patience, not force.
Most damage is done by careless fin kicks, not time. Titanic still has hallways, but no direction signs that matter. Cabins compress into shadows and outlines.
Small rooms trap artifacts because currents slow down here. Touch replaces sight when the sea keeps secrets. Timekeeping devices become pure symbolism down here.
Cloth dissolves first, yet it still outline a life.
A larger void suggests the ship's grander heart. Vertical voids are still navigable long after rooms collapse.
Small personal objects gather where floors give way. Opening is enough to learn without taking.
Jewelry survives as metal memory, long after names vanish.
The route stays in sign, where artifacts cluster. Public rooms often hold the most mixed debris fields.
Drawers keep order even after the room loses it.
Luxury becomes just material, but context keeps meaning alive.
Dining becomes a forest of legs and racks. Crates often preserve patterned fragments that the floor would scatter.
A small opening is safer than a full reveal.
Branding survives as fragments, like a signature broken into pieces.
Service and survival ended in the same room. Downward slopes often indicate heavier silt traps and artifact clustering. Lower levels keep heavier stories. Paper rarely survives intact, but shapes and seals can remain.
A box becomes a sealed archive of pulp and metal.
Seals persist longer than paper, which is why they matter.
Metal holds shape when leather does not. Keys are promises that can no longer be redeemed. A coat once meant travel. Now it means time.
Navigation returns to the vertical void.
Ornament often marks first-class zones even after collapse. Luxury leaves a different kind of debris. Canvas disappears, but frames prove that art once mattered.
A trunk holds travel plans that never finished. Ritual objects outlast the rituals that used them. A collar line suggests a face without showing one.
The route shifts toward the ship's outer skin.
Missing floors mean silt dunes and fragile voids.
Buried luggage is the ship's last passenger list. The safest search is the one that leaves the scene intact. Travel fragments make disaster feel personal and planned at once. Pinned objects sometimes outlast moving objects.
Belief objects persist because metal persists, but meaning persists because context remains. A scarf line is a final trace of warmth. The dive continues, one careful room at a time.
The staircase is gone, but the void still guides. Trim is a map made of status and material quality.
Names wash away first.
Even without art, the room's intent is still visible.
A stuck drawer is a boundary to respect. Personal adornment becomes evidence of presence, not fashion. Open spaces mean higher risk of falling debris. Ounce remain when the object and its glow is gone. Light fixtures remain as reminders, never as light.
Footwear often marks where a body once was.
Clothing outlines what the sea refuses to keep.
Service spaces connect everything, like hidden arteries.
Corroded pipework explains why interiors fail in sequence. A locker is a private space inside a public disaster. Work identity survives as hardware when cloth collapses. Lower ceilings mean tighter, airless silence.
Storage zones preserve patterns of daily life, not headlines.
Some containers still resist the ocean's slow theft.
Chemistry continues, even without oxygen to witness it.
Every retreat preserves the next step.
Sound once lived here.
Wood instruments fail fast, but the outline persists. The sea keeps the place, not the performance. Utility rooms reveal private routines.
Ceramic breaks but signals room function instantly.
Even toiletries become artifacts at depth.
Routine objects are the most human category of evidence.
Heavier doors hint at higher value contents. Security rooms rarely survive intact, but anchors of metal remain.
A
box built to resist thieves cannot resist the sea. Value shifts from currency to context the moment it sinks. Security did not guarantee safety.
The route loops because the ship is broken into sections.
Lower decks concentrate heavy metal and heavier collapse.
The ship feels tighter as the depth inside increases.
Mechanical systems become fossils of engineering intent. Tools remain close to the work that ended. Maintenance objects show the ship as a workplace, not a myth. Labor and loss share the same rust.
The dive stays controlled, room by room.
Object trails often mark where currents deposit heavier items.
Meals ended, but the tools remain.
Galleys hold dense evidence because metal was everywhere.
Even a pot becomes a sealed time capsule.
Residue tells more than recipes ever could. Work ended mid-motion. The ship shifts from workspaces to living spaces again. Passenger corridors often trap luggage where doors collapsed inward. Luggage still wants to be opened. Tags fail, but attachment hardware persists, like the idea of ownership.
Deeper inside, rooms merge into each other.
Public seating zones become collection basins for small personal items. Small boxes tend to hide big meanings. Images vanish, but frames confirm the urge to remember. Cloth lingers like a whisper around bone. Some hardware outlasts the room it served. Brass resists corrosion longer, leaving landmarks for navigation. Cabins hold the most concentrated personal layers. A careful hand reads what the ocean wrote. Down here, jewelry is evidence of intention, not wealth.
Warmth became weight when the ship went down.
Current lines inside wrecks act like invisible arrows. Fragments become breadcrumbs.
Pantries and serving rooms preserve ceramics and labels longer.
Corners keep what currents cannot carry. A tin box can outlive a wooden room. Administrative tools survive as proof of systems, not stories. The working body is often the quietest casualty. Branch corridors multiply, but the route stays deliberate. collapsed architecture becomes accidental fencing. Gaps invite curiosity and caution. Wedges preserve what open floors scatter. A chest is a promise of hidden inventory.
Optics down here are irony, designed to see farther, buried in darkness.
A hat ribbon is a last hint of ceremony.
The root stays inside the ship's broken spine. Panel drift shows where water still moves through the wreck.
Paper rooms become silt rooms.
The goal is to see, not to take.
Administration is a silent engine that vanishes from popular memory.
A collar line suggests duty, even after disaster.
Curved steel indicates proximity to the ship's skin.
Portholes become frames for a permanent midnight.
Outside is endless water. Inside is endless detail. Tight passages reward careful navigation. A buried trunk is a sealed chapter.
Small metal objects endure because the sea cannot digest them quickly. A coat becomes an outline of the last cold. Navigation relies on shapes that do not move.
Wayfinding is archaeology in motion.
The exit route is planned before the next discovery.
Artifacts appear even on the way out.
A last check, done gently.
Small charms often survive where documents cannot. The corridor holds its own silent witnesses.
The exit appears as a familiar scar.
Exits are the most dangerous point because contact risk increases.
Leaving is also part of the story.
From outside, the ship looks calm. Inside, it is a library of loss. The wreck is not frozen in time. It is still changing. A second entry changes the entire map. Contact can collapse material that looks solid.
A new corridor, a new story.
The stern holds work, storage, and final impacts. Wedges protect cargo longer than open decks. Opening must be minimal to keep the site intact.
Liquids leave first. Containers remain as proof.
Some remains are pinned by the ship itself.
Aft compartments compress like folded paper.
Mailrooms and storage racks trap soft goods against metal. A satchel implies intention to carry something forward.
Paper disappears, but the systems around paper leave hardware.
Metal furniture signals a more technical space.
Metal drawers resist collapse, but not corrosion. A small opening keeps the compartment stable.
Instrumentation survives as circles and numbers that can no longer be read.
Work uniforms become outlines of duty.
Slope suggests proximity to a collapse boundary.
Wedges can preserve a box for decades longer. Timekeeping hardware survives where timekeeping meaning fails.
Debris trails can be safer than open space. Tile fragments often mark wash spaces, even when layout is gone. Private routines leave small, stubborn objects. A tin can become a vault.
Grooming objects survive as proof of normal life.
Even a bath space can become a final location.
Cables suggest communications or control. Control rooms lose function first, but preserve layout. A device becomes a shell. Communication is fragile, but copper leaves traces. A room built for messages ended in silence. A stair opening is both shortcut and hazard. Vertical voids amplify collapse risk.
Some corners served comfort before catastrophe. Service nooks leave behind containers and accounting tools.
Even payment systems sank with the ship.
Keys survive as symbols of access that no longer exists. Hospitality ended where the ocean began. A route toward open water becomes the next checkpoint. Exiting reduces silt exposure and resets orientation. Outside again, the wreck becomes a silhouette. The stern is tighter, more crushed, more complicated. Different entry points show different eras of damage. Compression creates pockets that trap artifacts.
Dense ceramics settle quickly and protect smaller items beneath.
The safest artifact is the one left exactly where it was found. Tokens survive as personal anchors, even when names are gone.
A lace cuff turns tragedy into a close-up.
The stern leads into heavier steel and harsher collapse.
Steel grows heavier, and spaces grow tighter.
Service bays trap compact objects in pipe mazes.
A small case can carry a whole routine.
Tools survive as proof that maintenance once meant safety.
Work ended where water began.
A break in the ship is a window into the abyss.
Edges of break zones collect items that fell during collapse.
A single shoe is a full sentence.
Personal objects keep their shape longer than their owners' names.
Even reflection becomes residue down here. Fabric clings like a last decision.
Leaving requires a route that does not fight the wreck.
Corroded ladders are landmarks, not ladders.
The ship's skin becomes the boundary between history and ocean.
The safest exit is the one that avoids contact.
Outside again, orientation returns.
The stern is a knot of metal and time.
This site is not static. Corrosion is still active.
Every tear is a record of force and time.
Distance turns detail into silhouette.
Leaving is part of responsible exploration.
Some places change a person just by being seen.
The ocean keeps the final custody.
The story remains, even when the image ends.
Respect is the only artifact worth bringing back.